Ready?
Yes, sir.
Are we ready? Okay, welcome to the Troy Planning Commission meeting for November 14th, 2018. Please call the roll.
Mr. Wolke.
Here.
Mr. Cappers.
Here.
Mr. McGarry.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Mr. Titterington.
Here.
Mrs. Mahan. Mrs. Snead. We have a quorum.
Okay, the minutes of our last two meetings will be provided sometime in the future, hopefully this year. The first matter on the agenda would then be the historic district application for 90 Canal Street. The staff have a report.
Yes, sir, we do. Applicants Michelle Adams and Nicole Woodruff, who are here in the audience today, if you have any questions or comments for them, are requesting that the Planning Commission review their application for wall signs for the property at 9 East Canal Street. It is Zone B3, Central Business District, and is in the Historic District. The OHI form describes the property as a 1922 traditional vernacular cottage with an unusual side entrance, wood trim along the gable and eaves, and this property is not on the National Register. The request is for addition of wall signage, one sign, which will be Michelle's macaroons along the wall facing East Canal Street. The other two signs will be located on the side elevation of the property at the entrance door, one being for Michelle's business and the other for Rival House, which is Nicole's. The proposed sign material is a aluminum composite using the colors of Sherwin-Williams white, SW2123, Sherwin-Williams black, SW2126, and on or for Michelle's portion of the sign or signs, it's Valspar, Colorado skyline, which is attached in your packet. And the signage along East Canal Street is 15 square feet in total. Proposed signage for the side at the entrance door is broken into 8 square feet and then 16 square feet for a combined total of 39 square feet. And this building is permitted to have up to 60 square feet. The application has been reviewed. Staff recommends approving the proposed plan based that the alterations do not detract from the historic integrity of the building and the materials and colors are in keeping with the structure itself.
Any questions of staff? Are these macaroons like in small cookies type of thing?
Different.
Yes, sir. Michelle's here if you want
They're
to
different.
get a full listing of
Do
what
we
she
have
offers.
samples?
They're different.
Good luck in your endeavor, because I'm looking forward to that.
I'd make the motion to approve. Support.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes, definitely.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Mr. Wolke.
Yes.
Approved.
Next matter on the agenda is the preliminary plan for Heritage of Troy Country Club subdivision. Staff have a report.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Bart Denlinger is here on behalf of the applicant, which is 3Gen D LLC. They've applied to the Planning Commission for a new single-family subdivision along Peters Road. Most of you would probably know that as the former Robinson Estate. It's located right across from the Troy Country Club. Recently, this property was rezoned from the R1 to the R3, which allows for a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. The development is the first step of the approval process. If this would move on and get approved, it would be followed by a final plat, which would be approved by Planning Commission and ultimately City Council. The development itself, the layout is of the 24.926 acres. It has 28 buildable lots. There is an existing lot that is already developed. It has the current house, the Robinson House. That will remain on the 29th lot. In that area, and that will remain a lot that will be 6.117 acres. You can see through the development there is a main road that would be an extension of Creekwood Drive that would connect to the existing subdivision, which is in the county of Creekwood, and would connect it to Peters Road. And then there is 2 cul-de-sacs off of that, one being named Duke Court and the other one being named Robinson Way. Utilities, the development will be served by city water and sewer. It does have 2 detention areas to capture storm water as a result of the development. You will notice there is no parkland with this development. The subdivision regulations requires 3%. In this case would be 0.75 acres. However, the developer is requesting to pay fees in lieu of. That did go before the park board early last week. They did recommend approval of that as well. and the housing values are estimated to be around $500,000. Staff does recommend that Planning Commission accept the proposed preliminary plat as it is in accordance with the zoning code, subdivision regulations, and other engineering standards.
Any
Happy to-
question? I'm sorry.
I was going to say I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff? Commission want to take any action?
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the proposed preliminary plan in accordance with the zoning code, subdivision regulations, and other engineering standards.
Is there support for the motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Mr. Wolke.
Yes.
Mr. Pappert.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, the presentation of the City Beautification Committee, I don't think they represented here yet. So we'll go on to other matters. Are there any other matters to come before the commission, Mr. Davis?
Yes, we have one item in front of you that was handed out. I hope everybody has a copy in front of them. This kind of stemmed back in 2013, if everybody remembers the two banners that were placed up, which this board did approve for the Gentlemen of the Road Festival. In 2015, we evaluated the banners again to check on the condition and update the planning commission each year after that. This year, we looked at them. They are rapidly fading. They are kind of falling apart and need to be replaced. So what we have done with the help of the ATP committee, which is a group designed to focus on downtown Tash, that came as a result of the Riverfront study. This is one of the items we want to bring to you. We have spoken to the Masonic Temple about this to get permission to have this on there. This is a result of that. When the design process was coming up for this, we reached out to Jess Nielsen of the Olive Design Group, and Jess is here today. She will probably lead the discussion, but I wanted to give you that background. This is coming before you because the other one is falling apart and does need to be replaced, but we have had communications with the Masonic Temple building, and they are happy to have the city put something new in its place.
So is this an application for
This would be-
historic district review?
That is correct.
Okay. So do we have a written application from anybody? I see we have the graphics here. Do we have an application?
We do not have a written application at this. Yes, the city is initiating this application, so
So they're exempt from all these regulations. Is that right?
We make the regular.
we're begging for forgiveness in this situation.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
Will there be a sign explaining the meaning of the various things such as the barcode and so forth?
I don't think there'll be a sign explaining that, but what?
Jess here?
Yeah, Jess, but I was going to turn it over to Jess and let her go through the application and design.
Is that a misspelling?
Hi, everyone. Does everyone have the packet that has page 2 explaining the piece? Perfect, okay. I'll be referencing that here in a short explanation of what's all on here. So a couple of goals before I get started of this project were to reintroduce the new brand, which was just done. Also to tie in the Gentleman of the Road badge that was formerly there, and also to honor the historic tenor of downtown. So those were 3 of the goals before I started this composition. And so starting in the top left-hand corner of the new mural, you'll see a representation of the original Wrigley's barcode that was first scanned at the Marsh Supermarket. Moving to the right, you see the new brand stamp, which is a part of the new brand guidelines, which in this composition, it could also represent a sun. And then you also see the largest piece of this is a Waco plane, which was taken exactly from the Gentleman of the Road badge. A couple of the colors have been changed, but overall, the colors you see all represent the new brand. The stripes that were originally underneath the plane have been moved to the bottom wing. And then we also added the 1814, which represents the city's year of incorporation. So to answer your question about explaining what all these components mean, we are going to do some tests that deal with the QR code that's in the bottom right-hand corner of the mural here, where someone would be able to take their smartphone and scan the QR code, and they could be led to really any link. One could be basically an image of this, which represents an explanation of what all is on the mural. So the link could be changed. It could be directed to, say, a walking map of downtown or something like this, or really whatever is maybe seasonal as well. So can I answer any more questions about what the mural represents or?
Any questions? Mr. McGarry?
In your discussion, you talked about banners. Is there also banners that are going to complement this theme throughout the city or downtown?
These murals are actually canvas banners. They're just the same material that's up there now. So I think that's what we're talking about. when we say
Okay,
banners.
so there's not going to be any complimentary things?
No,
like
there's nothing additional.
Flags downtown or anything else?
Correct.
Okay. The other question I had was, there was talk over the last 12 months about the Masonic Temple selling the property. I don't know whether that's ever happened.
It is not.
It hasn't
still-
sold yet.
It's not, no.
Is there any protection we can get if, you go to the trouble to put these up and then a new owner takes it and says, get them all down?
We're only aware of a couple of parties that may be interested in, and we have reason to believe that they would be acceptable to leaving them, at least in the short term. Of course, long term, you never know what could happen. It is a historic building, so we would expect that the building would remain rather than be demolished, but that.
Would they require our
could be-
permission to take down the banners?
It's private property.
Yeah, I probably not, although we would work with the seller and the buyer to work that out. We don't anticipate any issues.
Well, as a board member of WACA, we're very pleased to see the emblem there. Sure.
Okay, let me ask, thank you very much.
Sure.
Let me pose the same dilemma that I've been posing the last few months, and that is what we are asked to do today, and that is the approval of a change in the historic district. So the question in my mind is this a historic representation of a historic period of time for our downtown? And that comes into play in a couple of things. Number one, the barcode. I understand it's historic to the city. It's not historic to downtown, in my opinion. The QR code, that ain't no way it's historic. It didn't start here. I can understand the rationale for having it if it works. I would love to have some sort of walking tour of downtown. But that can be easily accomplished by putting up a sign in the window of the Troy Chamber of Commerce or something rather than on the side of our building. I'm not real enthralled about the half sun, which is supposed to be representing our brand, as a historic district matter when the brand was done in 2018. So I have a problem with this. I'm welcoming any other comments.
Well, Mr. Chair, I guess we could ask that question with many of the recent signs and
And I have.
changes that have been, I know, but I guess as a collective. And so I asked that staff not only include a copy of the actual banners or murals, but also the rendering that Jess put together in her packet to the ATP that shows not only those banners in the plane, but also the mural that's on Prati Plaza. Not sure how old that mural actually is, but I do not believe that it's historic either. And yet, when you look at the two of those together, they do complement each other. So while they are not part of the historic downtown, if you follow your logic, the streetlights aren't necessarily historic since they haven't been here since the horse and buggy time. We could extend that argument out in many different ways, I guess, so.
Public safety is a total different issue.
Well, okay, all right.
I share Al's concern, not even stepping away from this particular banners. If someone would come to us in the private sector and request the same thing, how would we react, and how would we come up with a rationale for, these type of things. I know Al's asked the question, we've never really answered it, as far as what are the historical standards we're supposed to be following. There's really there's not a guidebook for us.
So there are no written standards by which we're to judge this. It's purely subjective, is that correct?
Correct.
That's my understanding, yes.
And the historic,
Excuse me. What we have done in the past is we have asked applicants to come forward, and the best received applicants are those that have come up with pictures of what it would look like back in the 1800s or early 1900s or whatever in the historic district.
but that is not the sole criteria.
No, that is not the sole criteria.
There's only one of several criteria, and you might recall when we had the presentation on the downtown riverfront plan and ways that we can stimulate the growth of the downtown, the revitalization, the redevelopment of the downtown, mural, not just this mural, but to Mr. McGarry's point in question, if we have in the future a downtown mural program that may encompass several other elevations or walls coming into and being as part of the downtown, they're not going to be historic either. So, yes, historic is one thing, it is one criteria, but it's not the only criteria.
And yet we don't have, what are those criteria? I guess that's what we're looking at. We don't have anything telling us what the criteria are. It's a feeling.
With two members absent, I just wonder what the urgency of this would be, or should we hold this until the full commission is available?
And you're welcome to move the table if that's what you're doing.
I want to hear if there's a sense of urgency first.
Well, we do need to do some work. We wanted to put up the QR code, the mock-up to see if that works or not. There is about a 2-week window of time before they can get manufactured and installed. It would be nice if we did this before the holidays. The holiday season is approaching rapidly. And with that, the more inclement weather, which may be as soon as Thursday, but I'll believe it when I see it.
In the meantime, I understand, the benefit of the QR code, but is the QR code available throughout town? Some of the emblems, you see a lot of the new logo emblems on doors, letterhead, and various things.
My understanding.
Maybe put that QR code on that rather than on the building for now? I mean, when I walk around downtown, I'm not going to be aiming my camera up to a building 2 blocks away.
Not everybody
If
knows
I
how to
walk
use
up
it.
to the kiosk and I see it, I might hit it.
Well, we would put it on the kiosk as well. I mean, we could add it, and I believe the map that we've designed or had designed for the downtown will have an area for the barcode, the QR code, to be placed on it. This is not really for, I believe that part of it is not really for locals. It's more for our visitors who might be curious and just take a shot of it and then see, oh, gee, here's a way in to see all the other stuff about Troy, including a walking map, or Troy Main Street, the Chamber, or some other seasonal, as Jess said, some seasonal navigation.
Well, as maybe the dinosaur member on the board here, not everybody knows how to use a QR code.
It's not for everybody. I mean, then you just don't use it. Nothing says that you have to.
Mr. Chairman, the other thing that I think may be appropriate is for, if the city may be exempt, I don't know what the proper regulation of this is, but I think it would be proper for them to fill out an application, just like somebody from the public does. I mean, right now, we're looking at this, but it becomes a public document with an application.
Makes sense to me.
We require all this of anybody that walks in the room, anybody that, is putting up any kind of sign. I think it's the least we can do. We can't really walk all over it.
we would certainly be happy to submit an application if necessary.
With approval by the owner of the building.
Yes, sir.
We already got that approved. I'll just weigh in, I like the history, and I'm not so worried about, if it's downtown, but I'm looking at Troy history, and this jumps out and covers some of the more historic elements, including the GOTR, and keeping some of that look of the Now, I know we haven't field tested the digital code thing. I'm pencil and paper too, so, but I think first of all, we ought to make sure that that would work, or if you don't want, the worst thing we could do is stick something up there that isn't going to work. And then we may need to have a backup plan for that section to give some balance. But I'm a big believer, when we talk about Troy, we talk about Troy history, things that have made significance, not necessarily downtown. Certainly a look of downtown is what we've tried to protect, but we've also, with the banner of GOTR, that was a hit, that was historic, and so we've tried to keep those elements. I'm a part of the ATP. I know a lot of discussion and a lot of effort went into getting to where we are with this presentation today. I like the 1814 because that again, not necessarily is a downtown, but it's when we became a city. So I think we have to look at what is history and what do we want to look at when we put things down. Downtown, to me, has always been the living room of our community. And when I think of the living room, I want people to come down and as they come into the house, they may look at the pictures of, and so that's history. So I'm not so worried about history of downtown versus history of Troy. I really am not. I like this. I think it has possibilities. I'm a little concerned about the little barcode, or not the barcode up there for Marsh, because I understand the historic relevance of that. But to see if it works, because the worst thing we could do is put something up and it doesn't work, and then we get criticized for why'd you put it up. Doing an application, if we have, if it meets standards, we're asking everybody else to do it. I don't think that's a big thing to do. I know we've made contact with the Masonic Temple. They're fine with doing this. So to get all the dots and I's dotted and T's crossed, just going to take some time, but it could be done. I would like to hear what Dee and Lynn would say. I think I know, but I'm not going to speak for them. They're not here. Timeliness, we just got a faded banner right now. Do we take it down, and when do we put up something different? If we put up something different. I kind of think a lot of effort went into this, and a lot of people, I will say, it's just not a city thing. This is a partnership thing of a lot of folks who spent a lot of time, and when we were in America's Best Communities competition, we decided that we would still move forward as a community, as a committee, and we focused on the downtown riverfront area. And I think there's a lot of vested time and energy that has gone into getting to this stage that we shouldn't not listen to or not understand. And these are people that have been very active in our community in lots of different ways. I'll just stop there because I know how much work went into getting to this stage, and I'm not so much as worried about the history of the downtown, because that's a living room. That's where you want to bring people in. I'm more concerned with the value of the community history. And this showcases that, at least some of the elements of Troy history. I'll stop.
I could be wrong, but I'm perceiving that there are not 4 affirmative votes here today. So,
You need 3.
Need four.
Need four.
It's not three, it's not of the quorum.
It's a
four
majority of the
board.
actual board.
Yeah, need four.
So, your point?
I'm waiting to see if I hear anything contrary to that. If not, well, then I'll make a motion, we table this to our...
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes,
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
The matter's
Motion is
tabled.
carried.
I urge staff to get an application put together for this and present it at the next meeting. As the,
Yes, Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller, would you come forward, please, and give us the report for the beautification committee?
And he's a good guy, too.
Oh, yeah, he's very good.
I have some copies, but I don't have enough, I think, Bill.
Pass on what you've got there.
I'll share with you. I guess you got, I was gonna say, I'll share with somebody, but you got one. They got one.
Jim, I already have one.
You all got one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm standing in for Gareth today. So the first thing you'll notice on the front are the flowers. And this will be the color scheme for next year. And they will match the blue poles. That's why they chose the colors that they did. So that's what that's about. Then when you open the cover and look at the first page, you'll see that there is a little write-up from Renee Levy. And I believe you've already received, have you not, copies of the quotes?
Budget we received.
Yeah, okay, so everybody's had that, okay. Then if you go to the next page, you'll see the proposed budget. If you go down on the first page to where it says hanging baskets, now that amount, there is a $170 less amount due to the fact that they didn't have to buy liners for the baskets this year. And if you go down a little bit farther where it says fountain bed, you'll notice that it's a little higher than last year. Last year was $7,950. This year, $8,130. And that's because, I guess, when the Mercers bought the flowers last year, they were a little bit under on the cost, and so they upped it just a little bit this year. Something like $180, I think, what the cost will be. And I think the new item must be the park plantings. I don't believe I remember seeing that in last year's budget. So altogether, they eliminated $594 for new baskets, since they didn't need those this year either. And then, of course, on the second page, this pretty much corresponds right down the line to last year's numbers. So, there you are.
How does this compare with-
Bill, has the beautification committee been asked to weigh in on the replacement of the trees downtown?
Yeah, in fact, next, I believe it's next Monday, Wendy is coming up to take like a walk around Troy. We're going to go, I think one of the places they're even talking about was King's Chapel, to look out there also. So, but they are planning to have a walk around Troy. I think it starts at 1 o'clock. We're to meet out at the park office, and then from there, we'll go around for a couple hours to see what needs to be done. And Barry, who's on our committee, he's also pretty much up on trees right now.
He's an arborist, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. So he's taken, I think, several courses, so forth. So, yeah, so we're aware now. I don't think at first we were aware that we were to be involved that much with trees. And so now I think we're taking more positive attitude toward them.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions
You're
of
welcome.
Mr. Miller? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think this needs to take any action by the planning commission. We accept the report, and the minutes can be perfected accordingly. Yes.
In last year, the commission more or less accepted the city beautification planting plan.
Did we make a motion? I don't recall. It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrington, is that a motion?
Sure.
Is there a second to that motion to accept the planning plan from the beautification commission? Second by Mr. McGarry. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Titterington?
Yes?
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Staff have anything else to come before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything on the table item?
Table item.
Next meeting, should we just,
The next meeting is scheduled for the 28th of November.
Wednesday after
It's the
Thanksgiving?
Wednesday after Thanksgiving.
Making sure people will be in town.
If you're not going to be available, let us know if you would. Okay?
Why don't we just discuss Christmas at the same time? Because the next meeting, the December meeting would be the 26th of December, and I presume we're
I'm
not
gonna be
meeting.
gone.
We'd have a meeting on the 12th of December, and then the meeting after that would be the day after Christmas. Anybody want to meet on the day after Christmas?
It won't be.
Anybody want to meet on the 12th of December?
Yes,
We may need to.
I will not be available the day after Christmas.
okay.
We will not hold a meeting the day after Christmas, so staff can take that into
Yeah,
consideration.
thank you.
Okay, anything else to come before the commission?
I just want to recognize the members of the ATP are here. Didn't have an opportunity to talk, and I know that's not mandatory or anything.
Sure.
That's not what I meant, but that they did take some time out just to show that they are committed to not only that project, but to the redevelopment of the downtown. This is only one of many different initiatives, projects, possibilities that the group is looking at, and they are volunteering several hours a week, at least a month, to doing that. And so I don't want the commission to think this is a city initiative by any means. This was, there's a lot of back and forth before they came back, we came up with the final rendering for the Masonic building, and virtually every decision that's made moving forward has a lot of input from a lot of people that are very committed, so.
Well, thank you, Mr. Tooney. And I want to also express my gratitude for all the hours and work that the ATP has put in. The comments you heard today are in no way to disrespect your opinions or counsel. We have to act as a planning commission independently and take a look at your recommendations accordingly. So thank you very much. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You stay